What's up, guys? Coach Lou here from Trying Strength and Athletics, and I wanted to go over a question that got asked to me through social media, Twitter to be specific, and it's a pretty damn near, it's a loaded question, but I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. So the question was asked is, how does one increase throwing speed, whether it be any type of overhead athlete, whether it be a volleyball player spiking that ball harder, a quarterback, right, or a baseball pitcher, obviously. So this kid specifically plays baseball, who asked, and he was asking because what he was told, he's questioning because it doesn't make sense. So he asked the expert. So three of the things that you have to take into consideration within your training programs to be able to throw harder, right? And now these aren't really in a hierarchy of needs, but just laid out. So one of the things is work capacity. Work capacity simply means just how conditioned are you, or your current level of fitness, right? Within that, there's two different applications, you would say. There's an SSP and GPP. So SSP is sport-specific preparedness, right? And then there's GPP. So SSP is your basically your level of what you do, your skill level, exactly of what you do. So you played Little League, you went modified, so middle school ball, high school ball, different levels, JV, varsity, whatever, college, pros. So the pros have achieved that level of mastery, right? And then you have GPP, general physical preparedness. So how conditioned are you, how fit are you to be able to play that sport? So baseball is an interesting thing because, as we know, baseball pitchers, not all, are the most physically fit guys, right? You could see. Some of them have some kind of protruding big bellies, but you know what? They're specific. What they do with their skill, they're masters of that. So ideally, what if you're just in better shape? What if you're better conditioned, a little bit stronger, X, Y, Z across the board, right? You're gonna obviously increase that throwing speed per se, more routinely. So are you throwing the same speed from the first inning all the way to the seventh, maybe the eighth, ninth inning, if you're throwing a complete game? That depends on your certain level of fitness or work capacity, right? Number two is basically general power. So one of the things is, if that specific movement that you're doing is just, pitching is just a lateral jump. But what if you can't even, your vertical jump or your broad jump aren't that exceptional? You know what I mean? What if your power numbers of what you do aren't really that great? So if you improve your general power with basic athletic movements, then you're gonna increase, obviously, your specific movement that you do. You know what I mean? And this all relates back to strength work, right? There is no power without strength. You can't move something fast until you can move a ton more than that, right? So one of the ways I like to do is basically med ball work. Simple, right? Very simple. Med ball work in all different directions. Now I like to start with lighter loads and basically hit X amount of distance or X amount of power, velocity. Now when that distance is being crushed, and then you move it back, or per se, you progress it, you make it harder, right? So that's basically with general power. So again, if you increase your general power and your basic athletic movements, then you're gonna increase your specific, you know what I mean? So notice that these two things both refer back to how strong you are, in a sense. And this is where how strong you are, right? You're basically just that increases everything across the board, which is best bang per buck, period, right? And different specific types of strength, right? So, and then basically number three is the specific muscles that are involved. So obviously if you're doing your prehab work, specifically for all the stuff in the scap stability and rotator cuff stability work, and if you're doing stuff to actually strengthen them and not get so beat up, obviously your speed of which you throw is going to increase, right? But you have to be diligent with that. So that's basically with that. So let's go over this. Work capacity, right? You have to be fit. You have to basically, some of the time, like sometimes there's baseball players that basically they're really good, but you have a general fitness test and they can't even do anything, right? Sometimes. You have your general power work, or you increasing the velocity at which they can move, or in a sense, in a general sense, if you could increase that, then, and people use different methods to go about this, right? I just only talked about the med ball specific work. Then you're going to increase their specific thing that they do. You know what I mean? And then basically specific muscles that are involved. Take care of those, right? Those are your babies. Also, thinking off the top of my head, what is baseball? An asymmetrical sport. So they are moving in the same planes of motion all the time. All the damn time. And all overhead athletes, from the gazillion reps that they've done overhead since they were little kids, has developed that one side to be way more dominant than the other. So within the weight room, they should be doing a lot of unilateral work, meaning dumbbell work, right? Meaning possibly doing 2 extra sets on the weaker side with X amount of reps, whatever we're working on for that day, right? Because you need to balance that out. And then you'll see that everything else catches up to par. But this is just basically my breakdown of how I'm thinking off the top of my head how you could increase that throwing velocity. Obviously, throwing, getting in a legitimate program before your season to long tosses and all the different variations of tosses before you actually start your season. Obviously, that's going to get you your arm condition and your body condition to what you do. So this is Lou for Triumph Strength and Athletics. Let me know if you guys have any questions. This question was tweeted at me, and I'm all with social media. It's I'm all over it. So let me know, guys. Until later.